It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey. It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios. We're so happy that you've joined us on this marvelous Monday. Of course, we're looking forward to a great show.
Yes, good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. My name is Mark Daniels. Thanks for joining us dead early on this marvelous Monday and this post-Father's Day. I can still feel all the goodness just spilling over into this week. I think it should actually be Father's Week.
All right. I mean, you can petition for that, Mark. Let's see what happens, and certainly if you get it passed, I will support it. But yes, a belated happy Father's Day to all the fathers. It was indeed a very busy weekend here at the Palacios household, but certainly a wonderful one. I hope that all the men like you got to enjoy it, Mark. Fathers are so important. Their contribution is so undeniable to the development of their children. And, I just want to celebrate all those who celebrated yesterday, whether you are a father because you helped to create a life, or you are a father because you helped to sustain a life, right? An uncle, a family friend, a role model in some way. It is such a beautiful thing, especially stepfathers, to see the way that you all can love children and help them to grow and develop. So a very special belated happy Father's Day indeed.
We received that. I received that on behalf of all fathers. And yes, you said it perfectly. Fathers, we have a role to play, not only in our house, but in our nation. We have to build this village, recreate the village where we're supporting each other. And it's only through that we can start to solve some of these major issues we have in the country, which is a reflection of our family structure. So fathers, keep it up, man. Proud of you all. It's the best job one could have.
Indeed it is. Well, Margaret, I love the fact that you spoke about community and building the village. We're going to be talking about a lot of that on today's show. We'll be talking with Stephen Sands about the Top Millennials Awards. And these are awards being given to young people in a variety of categories, all of whom are about nation building. And we also have Dr. Frederick Smith. He's going to be talking with us about hypertension. What we do know is that there are too many of our men, Mark, that end up, going before their time because they don't take enough care of their bodies. And so while this conversation is not just going to be about men, we do want to face this conversation as a nation because it plagues so many of us. So we're looking forward to both of those.
Definitely looking forward to those segments, Star. And we're also going to talk with the Holy Coptic Church about International Culture Day. Very excited about that. And we're also going to discuss the 2022-2023 national budget in our Economic Pulse segment with Karlos Mackey. Now, TCL invites you to join our live audience for the Financial Voice tomorrow, Tuesday, June 21st at 8 p.m. And it's going to be held at the Harry Seymour Library at UB. You can also watch the show on cable channel 212 and WhatsApp your questions live to our presenters. Remember, tomorrow, June 21st, 8 p.m. Now let's check in with weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, pre-forming trough associated with the frontal boundary just north of Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini, along with streaming tropical moisture, will continue to generate pockets of showers and thunderstorms across the northwestern and central Bahamas today. Today, variable cloudiness, but hot, with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Some of those showers becoming heavier at times, those thunderstorms strong to severe at times. High temperature 91, heat index 102. Tonight, partly cloudy and warm with a few nighttime showers. We low going down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And for regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 89 and 79. In Jamaica 1975. In Trinidad 84 and 78. And the Turks and Caicos Islands 90 and 80. Across North America, Atlanta 93 and 71. In Raleigh 91 and 64. In Miami, 89.78, Dallas, Texas, 178, Toronto, Canada, 71 and 60. As you go the week, as front troughs move into northwest Bahamas, dissipate sometime late Tuesday. You can expect variable clouds again on Tuesday, still hot with those showers and thunderstorms. Then by Wednesday into Friday, we're looking at probably sunny, hot, humid, with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. And then a wet weekend in store as you have another troughing coming across the island. They'll bring some cloudy skies, heavy showers and thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday. Low temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s to low 90s at daytime and the upper 70s at nighttime. That's what's dropping your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Will honor 49 of the top millennials in the Bahamas at an award ceremony on August 6th. Here to tell us more, we're so happy to welcome Stefphen Sands. He's the founder and executive director for Project Bahamas and the Top Millennials. Good morning, Stefphen, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you so much, Star. It's great to be here.
It's good to be here with you. I have the pleasure of knowing you, Stefphen, so I know that your heart is just for the Bahamian community, for
Yes.
giving opportunities for young people to speak in new spaces and share knowledge. And so I have that benefit, but I want to introduce that to the guests today and to all those watching. And so I want you to start by telling us about Project Bahamas. What is it?
So we are a nonprofit organization that started a few years back. Just basically, we just wanted our voices to be heard. Mm-hmm. And so we started off with hosting forums. I don't know if Star remembers this. She was the host back then, where we had other millennials who were of the age now 18, who we wanted to get them to vote in the, I think it was the 2012 election. So it started off with advocating for persons to register to vote and all of that stuff. And then we thought about highlighting other millennials who are doing great things in the country, making an impact on the community, they were achieving in academically, all of that stuff. And so we came up with this whole initiative to get persons to nominate friends and families, employees, employers, who, like I said, are doing great things in the country. And this is where we're at now. Almost 500 submissions, shortlisted to 100 and something persons. And by the end of the month, we will have our 49.
Excellent, excellent,
Yes.
excellent. And this is not the first year. You guys actually, you got started in the pandemic. And so talk to me, last year you did a top 48 as well. Have they been identified? And how will they be honored given that, their nominations happened in the pandemic?
Right. So, of course, we were under the pandemic. And so we didn't get to do much with the 48. And so this year we thought we would continue that cohort into the 49 and just merge them. And so we'll be celebrating all month long in July to highlight our 48 and our 49. So there'll be a lot of social events. We're going to do a number of charitable events. Then we climax with a awards night on August the 6th, where we will highlight both the 48 and 49. Basically those persons, again, like I said, who are doing great things. But before that, let me go back. On July 20th, we'll have a pinning exercise where everyone will be pinned with a special millennial pin and a medal by our Governor General and Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture.
Excellent, excellent. Well, congratulations. I recognize two things, Stephen. One is that this event happens in July, and last year you were at 48, this year you were at 49. Is the concept that you're associating the number of millennials you honor with our country's independence?
Yes, we simultaneously celebrate our independence.
Okay.
And so year 50 is big for us, big for the country, and we can't wait for you to see what we have in store for that.
Okay. Well, we'll get there. Let's get through 48 and 49 first. But there might be some people watching and they've heard about it or they've seen some of the outstanding millennials that have been nominated. What is the process like? If people are even thinking now, like you, about year 50, how do they know or how do they keep up with Project Millennials so that they can nominate some outstanding people that they know who fall into that millennial category?
So what we would advise them to do is to email us so we can keep them in our database. And how when we send out our monthly newsletters, you'll be able to see when it's time for submission. Usually that's about in January of each year. And so the process is once the link is open, we just go out and nominate a person or persons or a group or a power couple like yourself and Karlos. We just go from there. Once they submit their items, and then we take them before a selection board of 6 persons, who normally makes the decision of who is top millennials in the country. So it's not a voting system, but it is by a board that comes together. We do some vetting, we make sure the persons are legit, and we have some evidence of their success and their whatever they say they are. And that's how we get our top 48, 49, and 50.
Okay, excellent. All right. Now, who are some of the persons being honored this year? And you can feel free to also include some of those who were nominated and honored last year, but won't be able to enjoy full celebrations until this time.
Okay, for top 48, persons like Lincoln Dean, Carlos Palacios, Ricardo Mitchell, Sherry Ann, Deal, and some of these persons are off in the United States as vice consuls, as presidents and CEOs of different organizations. We have some teachers. We even have some sports Olympians. For the 49th, I'm not too familiar with the whole team, but persons like Anthea Butler, K. Darren Turnquest, Anton Duncombe, a very good teacher in the Andros area.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to mention too that a lot of submissions come out of our family islands,
Yeah.
which I believe is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just want to make that known that the family islands have an opportunity to take part in this as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. I seen some of the nominations coming out of the family islands. I think about my good friend Navarre Smith in Grand Bahama, and so many more. So it's excellent to see that this is a nationwide exercise.
Yes.
And of course, we want to continue to celebrate the nation's best. Now, the ceremonies you said take place on August 6th. I think it is at the Atlantis Resort. But
Yes.
is that open to the general public? And if so, how can they purchase tickets?
Yes, so it is open to the general public.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the overwhelming support and from our nominees, family, and friends, we want to try to keep it at a max. But you can begin to purchase tickets online at www.projectbahaha.org, projectbaha.org, or you can simply call us at 802-0527. 802-0527, and we'll be able to bring tickets to you. The awards is on August 6th at the Atlantis Theater. We start with a red carpet special. So we're laying it out, we're getting all dressed up. And at 7:30, we will be live, and then we will be awarding our top millennials.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Stefphen, congratulations to you and your team on 2 successful years of nominating some outstanding young people in the country. And just so I'm clear, before my viewers sent me text messages, millennials, they range from what year? I think they're born in 1980 to 1996. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is the age from 25 to 41.
Okay, from
so that's 1981 to 1996.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. I want to make mention very quickly too that we are going to be recognizing some Gen Z rising stars. Mm-hmm. These persons who have been also making an impact, but didn't quite just reach that mark for millennials.
Yeah, I've seen some nominations of mentors and Gen Z rising stars, and it really is just great to see this group of people. Depending on your age, you may consider them young, you may consider them a little bit older, but really the crux of the workforce, the crux of the social fabric at this point, in terms of development and family continuity, etc. And so it really is excellent to see you, Stephen, take this on, going from our first session back in 2012, encouraging young people to vote, to now being here where you're honoring these young people and working with such major corporate sponsors. So congratulations to you and to your team. We look forward to seeing who's the big winners on August 6th. So we hope that they'll come on the show. But thank you so much just for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months, with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches.
Welcome back. June 25th is International Culture Day. There'll be music, food, fun, and cultural activities for the entire family. Here to tell us about it are Reverend Dr. A.J. Varmah, head pastor and scribe of the Holy Coptic Church International, Shandle Williams, member of the Holy Coptic Church Bahamas, and Paul and Tanya Hanna, members of the Holy Coptic Church Bahamas and professional musicians that we love on the show. Namastu and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, everyone.
Namastu.
Namastu.
This is such a powerful group of people, talented, those who want to make a difference in our country, those who want to make a difference in our world. And here we are discussing International Culture Day. So Basesh, tell us, what is International Culture Day?
International Culture Day is a way of bringing those of the diaspora and of the continent, no matter where we are on the planet, to a place where we can see Black excellence and understand that we are interconnected. You know, that each place we go, if I go to Haiti, if I go to Jamaica, if I go to Bahamas, if I go to Liberia, Ghana, Tanzania, if I go to the United States, if I go to England, that Black people, African people, people of melanated descendancy, that actually our struggle is still one. The things that we all strive for, the things that we all want, the things that we all fight for each day and just really desire for our future, for our children, it's the same. And somewhere along the line, we've allowed ourselves to feel separated. So it's a day of celebrating our Black excellence, but at the same time, reminding each other that I exist because you exist. The old African word Ubuntu, that means I am because you are, you know, or Sankofa, to go back, to go forward. So we're going back and remembering all of the things that keep us linked and how best to keep that for the next generation, to make sure that the next generation knows who they are, can celebrate who they are, but never forget where we come from. And more importantly, we say, as the Jewish people say, per their Holocaust, never again.
Very well said. And I love that you highlighted the fact that we are in different places across the planet in the diaspora. We have different ways of expressing our individual cultures, but we're all still connected by a fiber that we must celebrate. And so we're happy that this International Culture Day is happening. So tell us, what countries are joining in to celebrate along with the Bahamas?
Well, along with the Bahamas, coming out of Nassau, Bahamas, we're going to have the United Kingdom in London. We're going to have Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to have the United States. We'll have people viewing in from South Africa, from Tanzania. We'll have people viewing in from Ghana, from Jamaica, from Liberia, from the Gambia. So it's in Mexico, right? South America. We have some people down in Brazil that'll be tuning in. They speak Portuguese, but they also speak English. So it's a celebration, and we'll be streaming it in from all around the world, different components of the day. And then each location will have their in-person events that people can also attend.
This is awesome. I'm excited already. I can't wait for next week, or for Sunday rather. Tell us, why is International Culture Day important?
Well, it's important because, again, we think that, and that's why we call it Culture Day and not cultures or cultural, right? Culture, meaning we are really one culture, but our one culture has so many unique aspects. And it's important because how many people living in America will never get to go to Bahamas, or will never get to go to Trinidad, or will never get to go to places in Africa? So if we can bring the old adage, if Muhammad won't go to the mountain must come to Muhammad. Well, because we have the technology available today, we can bring that mountain to each person and reconnect us all to this one ethos or one mentality or one way of thinking that says we can make things happen in spite of, and that Black excellence is happening every day. That Black excellence is not something that you have to hope to reach one day, that is happening every day. But if we don't highlight it, if we don't stress it, it won't be seen. So we have to highlight it. And especially for that next generation, they need exposure. If we don't expose them to it, how can they become it? If we don't show them a steel pan, then how does that child living in New York City ever learn to play steel pan. If we don't show them John Canoe or an aspect of John Canoe, then how can that child in Liberia ever express it? If we don't show them science or doctors or chiropractors or nurse practitioners, if we don't show them, then how can they become? So it's more than just for the adults, it's also for the children. And so that's what the day will be about.
Yes, and we hear the little one in the background with you.
Oh, that's my co-host. That's my co-host.
ready for International Culture Day.
That's right. He's like, let's bring it.
Bring it on. Sister Shan, so tell us for the event that's going to be happening here in the Bahamas. I know it's going to be online. Tell us what kind of activities will be occurring.
Okay, we start from 10 to 6. We start off with Bahamian games. Yes. Shooting marble, top, stuff like that. Then at 11, we have the Bahamian circus, Imanji. For those who don't know, yes, we have a Bahamian circus. They will be performing. We also will have a John Canoe rush out at 1 p.m. Colors John Canoe. You know, we have to have John Canoe in there. And we will be honoring a few unsung heroes. One, Reverend Dr. C.B. Moss, as a community activist. Mr. Kishan Strawn, he is world leading in javelin, young man about 17, 18. We're honoring him as leading youth award, and also Miss Angelique McKay for excellence in culture.
That sounds wonderful. Lots of excellence.
Yes, and we will have music, lots of music.
Yes.
Of course, Paul and Tanya Hanna, the Jazz Cats, Landlord, and Bodine Victoria.
Oh,
yes.
I'm excited.
Lots
I
of
can't
Bahamian food, desserts, coconut tart, pineapple tart.
Yeah, talk about that food some more. Talk about the food.
And you know, we're just coming out of a fast, so.
Yes.
Yes.
We're ready to fill out our clothes.
Yes, we start promptly 10 o'clock, from 10 to 6.
So this will be 10 to 6, Saturday, and where is this happening?
Cultural Village, Arwaki.
And the most fitting place, one of the cultural centers for New Providence. Everybody goes by the fry. Everybody goes by Arwaki.
Yes, the fish
Many
fry.
cultural events held there, and I think this is very fitting for that setting. For those who want to come out, is there a cost involved?
Yes, for adults and children, 12 and up to adults, it's $5, children, $2. Babies are free. At the two, yes, they're free.
I got 2 babies.
Yes, gorgeous. Congratulations. Again.
And this will also be shown online. So
yes, we'll be live streaming.
And how do we find the link?
The link is on the flyer, also on the Journey Home group, also on our Facebook page, and all of the ads that are coming out have the link.
Perfect. Just want to double back again to Boss Sesh, just to bring it home again before we have our wonderful musicians give us a taste of what's going to happen on Saturday, just to give us some background on how International Culture Day was first formed and how it's been celebrated around the world at the different locations.
Okay, well, the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, and this has been over a decade, way over a decade. Every year we would have International Culture Day, but the way it was being done at that time, this is before Zoom, this is before Uvu, this is even before Skype, right? So every location would have their International Culture Day. Every location would have their International Culture Day. And as they would have their International Culture Day in these different locations, they would celebrate and bring international artists in their location. But now, over a decade later, Zoom exists. And so we said, well, this year, let's link everywhere we are through the Zoom platform, use this platform to then stream special aspects of each place online, and then people can watch it. And so that's how it's developed. It started off as just International Culture Day as a celebration, but it was always done in each location on the same day, but never where we were able to link because, you know, again, the technology didn't exist unless you owned a television station. But now with Zoom, it allows us to then share with each other. And so all of our branches said, okay, let's pull together this year and we're going to do something special. Okay, Okay, he wins.
Yeah, right? Yeah. He's like, I want to hear the music now. I want to hear the music.
Yes.
Well, we're so happy that you all have come on this one to talk about International Culture Day and the importance, once again, of us being connected. Although we're spread across the diaspora, we share a common fiber that we're going to celebrate this weekend. And a part of that celebration is having our dear Paul and Tanya Hanna, who we love on the show, who are members of the Holy Coptic Church Bahamas, and they're going to be sharing with us a part of their performance that we'll be seeing on the weekend amongst all of the other artists. So as we transition into that, I'd just like to thank you all for being on Moms at Sunrise, Basesh, Sister Shan, Paul and Tanya Hanna. Thank you so much, and kick it off.
Do I want you? Oh my, do I, honey? Did I do?
Ooh, yeah. Do I need you? Oh my, do I said, now honey, baby, did I do?
I'm glad that I'm the one who found you.
I said, now
that's why I'm always hanging.
I'm always hanging around you, baby. Oh, do I love you? Do I need you? Do I want you? Oh my, I said, do I, honey, sugar, did I do?
I know too well that you care so much for me.
Really?
You are
so easy to love, so easy to idolize. You're the one I adore. So worth, so worth the yearning for. Oh yeah, babe. So swell. Oh,
it keeps
every whole fire burning for. You are.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
Join the Click is an initiative started by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions last year when we were trying to figure out how to help business leaders as well as consumers to stay connected. Working with Canoe, working with other partners, working with the government and My Gateway to help them to connect with customers who want to place orders and want to be able to do things in a digital way.
My Gateway. My Gateway is a groundbreaking portal through which clients can request and pay for government services online. We have 28 services. We expect to increase the number of services to a minimum of 200.
I love that we're helping the government and helping our citizens to be more efficient and to use their time more wisely.
I invite you to sign up for mygateway.gov.bs and let us make government work for you. Join the Click.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this marvelous Monday. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
And I'm Mark Daniels. Thanks for waking up dead early on this marvelous Monday.
Indeed, indeed. I feel the earliness, Mark. I think it's because the kids are getting ready for summer vacation, and it just kind of feels like, why aren't we on summer vacation?
Yeah, I think I want to become a teacher like my mother was, and like my father's been a teacher and a lecturer, because those summers, man, I have great memories as a child, my father being off for summer and us having time to go to the beach and do all these fun things. He was drop us to school and all that. So I think I'm gonna change my profession. I can call Karlos.
Yeah, call him. All of that conversation. I can't encourage that. I'll be in trouble. But no, we're happy that you're still with us. We've got more to come in the second half of the show. The first half, of course, has been great. Just seeing all of the community organizations that we have around, Mark. And I hope that people watch the show and they still feel inspired sometimes. With so much going on in the world and in the country, there can be moments of despair. But when we have these sorts of conversations with people like Stefphen Sands and Project Bahamas, or we meet with the church and we see what they're doing to, remind people of the family and the beauty of Black excellence and so much more, I hope that people are inspired, because there's so many good things happening as well.
Yeah, and as you said, these are organizations that are celebrating individuals, celebrating culture, and celebrating the togetherness that comes with that. And so, that Top Millennials program, I've been watching that. It's awesome. I never knew where I was, if I was a millennial or what I was, but now I know. I'm a millennial. Yeah. Right? And for the Holy Coptic Church, we love to celebrate Black excellence. And so looking forward to this Saturday at International Culture Day at Arawaki.
Indeed. Well, we got more to come in the second half of the show. We're going to be talking about hypertension with Dr. Frederick Smith.
Yes, and we're going to be taking a look at the 2022-23 national budget that was announced in the House over the last few weeks. But let's take a second look at weather with Brother Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. And yes, let's look at weather at sunrise, a tropical weather outlook, the tropics quiet, and tropical cyclone formation are expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, pre-frontal trough associated with the frontal boundary just north of Grand Bahama Group Bimini, along with streaming tropical moisture, will continue to generate pockets of showers and thunderstorms across the northwest and central Bahamas. In the marine forecast today, winds variable 10 knots or less, seas less than 3 feet in the northwest and central Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 knots, east to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet northwest central Bahamas, easterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the southeastern islands. And then on Wednesday, winds are going to be easterly across all the islands, 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the northwest Bahamas, 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 7:50 this morning. Next high tide will be at 1:59 this afternoon. Low gain this evening at 8:09. Sunset will be at 8:01 this evening. Rising at 6:20. UVMX 9. Your water temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Honeymoon phase last quarter. Then a look. Frontal boundary moves across the northwest Bahamas. First allows pride late Tuesday. So we can expect the same variable cloudiness, still hot with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms on Tuesday. Expect some dry air to move in on Tuesday, on Wednesday through Friday. That means we have partly sunny, hot and humid conditions. Still expect a shower thunderstorm by afternoon, and then by weekend troughing again will cause some increasing cloudiness, showers and thunderstorms across the islands. The temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s to lower 90s daytime, and the upper 70s at nighttime. That puts her up in your front look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, this is a very serious conversation that we love to have on Bahamas at Sunrise as we continue to talk about how we can be our healthiest selves. High blood pressure or hypertension is when pressure against the blood vessel walls in your body is consistently too high. Here to talk with us about this, we are very happy to welcome Dr. Frederick Smith. He's an internal medicine specialist and a nephrologist with Doctors Hospital Health Services. Good morning, Dr. Smith, and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, and thanks for having me again. It seems like it's home now.
Yeah, it is home for you because we can't not do this as often as we do, right? The numbers speak too highly in the country for those of us that have hypertension. And I almost think, Dr. Smith, that some of us automatically expect it, right? Like, oh yeah, that's just going to be a part of my life because my mommy had it and my grandma had it and my granddad had it, when it doesn't have to be. So
and that's what I was going to say. It doesn't have to be because there's nature versus nurture, and there's some things that we can do to help to prevent that.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. So we're going to talk about that today. Let's get started by understanding the cause, and then people can kind of start to see exactly that point, right? That they get to make some choices. So what causes hypertension?
Well, I think that you've done a good job at starting to give us a little bit of the pathophysiology behind it, because hypertension truly is a blood vessel problem. Hypertension, again, is an increase in pressures in the blood vessels. And so you've done very good at that. I think if you want to go to a little bit more about what causes it, there are numerous things, and we're going to call it multifactorial. It can be, there's some nature versus some nature things, whereas there are some elements of a genetic predisposition to it. But there are also some nurture things. There's some nurture things in our diet, i.e. the amount of salt that we eat. There's the nurture things in terms of the amount of exercise or the lack thereof that we do. So we end up becoming a little, as I think the term now these days is a little fluffy, and we become a little fluffy, and with the weight, then we increase the pressures or the pressure loads as well. So there's weight, there's nutrition, there is diet, there is exercise, and we're going to call it lifestyle changes. So there's some things in our lifestyle that can do it a little different.
Okay. And then are there symptoms of it? Like can people, if you have a pink eye, it's pink, right? And you can tell. Or if something's perhaps wrong with your gastrointestinal system, you might go to the bathroom too frequently or too little. So there are like some things that you can see. With hypertension, is there anything that stands out as a symptom where people may notice this might be a sign of HD happening?
So there are some. I'm going to start by saying that, sometimes people become dizzy, sometimes they'll have headaches. And I don't know why this happens, but some other older folks get pain around their back. I got that from an older physician, and same to them too. They may start to have other things that suggest that other organs are giving them problems. So they may start to have blurring of the vision or pain in the eyes. They may have chest pain, racing of their heart, swelling of their feet. So it may go into start to say their heart problems. It may go into say now that their kidney problems, and go into saying now that there are things that are going on in your mental system or your neurologic system. But I think what we have to also very much highlight is hypertension is also known as the silent killer.
Wow.
So sometimes there is nothing at all that you yourself realize is going on. And then you go just for a checkup and you realize that your blood pressures are high.
Wow.
So symptoms, there are some symptoms, there are some signs, but again, what we must remember is if you don't check it, you'll never know, because it is also known as the silent killer.
Wow. And so is it then important to get regular screenings? Because that concerns me. The Bahamian diet is salty, period. And so I'm nervous about that for those watching. How should you just be doing regular checkups? I know lots of organizations pre-COVID would have these screening events at different fairgrounds, etc. Is that something that people should be doing regularly? And is there like an age range for that? Can you give us some more context about how we could check that for the silent killer?
So I'm going to tell you that according to our age, there are some parameters in terms of what we must do and how often we should have our annual physicals. And I know Doctors Hospital Health System has that set up. We have Prime Care. Dr. Warner Rogers is in charge of, or the director, to be more politically correct. And I think that there is the role that we should continue to do our physicals yearly, because we may pick it up. Now, against the guideline a little bit, and some of the things that I do, well, every time somebody comes into my office, we check blood pressure. In fact, in our home setting, we have blood pressure. I have a blood pressure monitor. So I try to get my mom to check her blood pressure twice a day. God help me, she doesn't always do it. But that is the kind of thing that we'll do. So even preventatively, not guideline, the machines are $30. Why not get a machine, and every so often in your family, it becomes a family affair. Just how it was in the churches, as you said, pre-COVID. A lot of churches did the fairs and they did the screenings there where nurses would come in and do the blood pressures and do their finger sticks to look for diabetes. How hard is it for us to get a $30 automatic machine and put it on that once and check it? So I think that that is something that we can start to do. And again, not guideline, but I think it's a wonderful idea.
Okay. Are there many people walking around undiagnosed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, what we do find is that a lot of the persons that come in are incidentally found to have high blood pressures when they come into their physicals, or they come in for another complaint, and it just becomes a part of the screening when you come in, or as we say, the vitals, when they come in to see the physician and we notice that their blood pressures are above the recommended guidelines, whether it's American guidelines, British guidelines, but they're elevated, and then we start to investigate for it.
Okay. Now, is there treatment for hypertension? And with everybody who's, comes in, they've got high blood pressure today, does everyone need medication? What are some of the alternatives if there are some people who would prefer not to be on medicine?
So that, because I'm gonna say be careful, because it becomes a slippery slope, because a lot of us will prefer to drink the bush teas and do the bush medicine rather than taking a medication. But and I say slippery slope because if the physician prescribes it, even if you do things along with it, then one should take the medication.
Okay.
So does it always take treatment of medication? Sometimes you can make changes in your blood pressure with your lifestyle changes. You can increase your exercise, you can increase intensity of exercise, you can change your diet, changing diet as well as decreasing the amount of salt, and they may do some differences. You can lose weight, and we know that if you lose weight, it can drop the systolic, new word, systolic blood pressure, which is the top number, new word, diastolic blood pressure, which is the bottom number. So we know that exercise alone can change that by a certain amount. We know that the decrease in salt alone can do that. We know that weight loss alone can do that. So that's three things that become summative, as opposed to just that just individually doing it. So that means that you have an exponential ability to decrease your blood pressure just by doing those three things. And so, we talked about yesterday being Father's Day. Happy belated Father's Day to everybody that's a father figure, the whole spiel. But there was crab and rice.
Of course.
There was macaroni. There was peas and rice. There probably was potato salad, fried fish, and truth. All of that, we actually put a good bit of salt in to get the flavor that we like as Bahamians.
Okay.
So decrease the volume, decrease the amount of salt, and then do a little exercise afterwards. And you've met three things that should help to decrease your blood pressures.
Excellent. Oh, Doc, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. I think you've given us very clearly three options that can help, even if you are predisposed to this. And then I love that you said, that those blood pressure machines are available. They're available at many of the pharmacies. They only cost about $30. And so if you can take that and do that preventatively, you can be on the right track. So I think we learned some great information from you today, Dr. Smith. And we thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you very much. See you again next time.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
The sports we play depend on the health we build. So let's stay healthy. Wear a mask and practice social distancing and hand washing to protect yourself and others. Remember, COVID-19 is not again.
A public service message from the Bahamas Olympic Committee.
Welcome back. Tomorrow night, our next guest, Karlos Mackey, Executive Director and President of Money Max Co. and President of Prime Financing and Consulting, will be hosting The Financial Voice. The topic is, of course, the national budget, and he joins us this morning to get the conversation started. Good morning and welcome back to Moms at Sunrise, Karlos.
Morning, Mark. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, man. And happy.
Go ahead, you go first. Yeah, happy belated Father's Day to you too, my brother.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this budget now. Does the 2022-23 budget break new ground? Or does this budget address the critical concerns of the economy?
I think that, saying that it breaks new ground or that it addresses critical concerns, I definitely don't want to give what in any way be considered a partisan take. What I will say is that the budget does have a lot of gumption, right? The budget speaks in a lot of terms that I think the governing administration is wanting to, I guess you can say, have the country really sound off in terms of high notes about where they think the country is going to go. It's a very optimistic budget. I definitely think that it sounds the right tone, whether or not we think that the tax, things like the taxation and all of those things are gonna be able to achieve what they wanted to achieve will remain to be seen. But what I will say is it's an optimistic budget. And I do think, particularly coming out of the period that we were in, the kind of retraction and almost what I would call emotional kind of drag that the health situation kind of left the country in. It's good to see that there is optimism coming from the highest places in the country. So for nothing else, I would say that if we don't get anything from this, we should get that the government has to be, and they are very optimistic about what the country should be able to do over the next couple of years.
And that's a positive, to me, that's positive that the government has a positive outlook. That's how you have to approach these things, find your strategy and look to execute, right? I'm not an economist, so I have to trust people like you to break it down for me, right? But in terms of strategies in the budget, do you see any strategies proposed for boosting public-private partnerships in capital investments, especially among the major domestic investors?
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of what I call room given for there to be public-private partnerships. It seems as though in the energy sector, there's going to be some public-private partnership in the, what I would call other infrastructure sector in terms of airports and other things like that. So that's a very positive, what I would call development. I think what's going to be interesting is in these public-private partnerships, are we going to see any what we would call opportunities for the everyday Bahamian to invest in some of these public-private partnership entities, or are there going to be vehicles via the private investor groups where they're going to allow Bahamians to actually participate? I think that really is one of the things that we did not hear enough about, and potentially that is something that the government will require. If I were in their seat, that would definitely be something that I'd be thinking about. How do I allow Bahamians to actually participate as investors in these public-private partnerships? The reality is that a lot of these government-funded programs, or excuse me, government-partnered programs, will result in a certain level of guaranteed income for the investors. That's a fact, right? You wouldn't get into some of these things where government infrastructure is concerned if there wasn't a certain level of guaranteed income. I think it'll be important for us to not simply have that aggregated in the hands of a few investor groups, but really figure out ways that other Bahamians could begin to participate in that kind of investment opportunity.
I agree with you 100%. And I think a part of that discussion is, evaluating whether or not the concessions that a typical foreign direct investor may receive when they're coming to invest in the country, that these concessions are also extended to the major local investors in these public-private partnerships.
Yeah, as far as whether foreign or domestic, we should really begin to take an approach and think about, should there always be some kind of what we would call public investment component, that there is some kind of publicly traded component, particularly public equity. We see that our stock market division is not as robust and vibrant as we would like it to be. I think it would be interesting if we made every project have a public equity component that is traded on our local markets. I think we'd see a lot more risk-taking by Bahamians wanting to be investors. But again, some things you do have to actually mandate as a part of these concessions that will be given to anybody, whether they are foreign or domestic.
Right. In your opinion, what is needed for real tax reform with significant and long-term validity?
I think tax reform has to come from a place of actually knowing what you want the tax dollars to do. You really, anytime you have a budget, budgets really don't exist in a vacuum of their own, right? A budget has to actually be geared towards a particular goal. I don't think that we're going to get the kind of tax reform that is really long-term beneficial until we actually have a cohesive and comprehensive long-term plan. And with all due respect to the persons that were part of the previous National Development Plan exercise, I don't know if it was inclusive enough for the man on the street. I don't know if that there was enough conversation that was down at the street level. I think we're going to have to go through an exercise in this country of actually saying and allowing everyday Bahamians to really, really have an input. I think when we get to a place where every input is registered and logged and we say, listen, here is what the inputs are, here is how we aggregate them. We're going to take what seem to be the top 30 or top 20 or top 50 most common things. We're going to make a plan around that. And then this is what we intend to be the plan for the next 50 years of the Bahamas. Until we actually get to a place where there's a national plan that has what we would call a level of input for every, what we would call John and role, we won't get to a place where tax reform is going to be effective. Everything that we want to do, because again, tax reform doesn't exist in a vacuum. Tax reform will have to go along with comprehensive immigration reform. It's going to have to go along with comprehensive education reform. So all of these things are tied together. That's why we have to have an exercise where we include the voices and the thoughts of literally even the kids in school for a national development plan that doesn't take us from now to the next election or even to the next decade, but literally speaks in terms of half-century increments. Until we get that kind of thought process going among our people, some of us won't be here, but the reality is a lot of us will be here. So until we get that kind of thought process around, particularly for a young population like the Bahamas, our population is actually on average relatively young. We have to begin to think in those kind of increments. Until we do, a lot of our conversation around comprehensive, long-term effective tax reform is literally going to be simply repetitive.
Brother Mackey, I always love you coming on this show because, as I said before, I'm not an economist. So you break it down for simple people like me, right?
Dangerous.
Right? And, this debate around the national budget is an important discussion And so we're very happy that you're going to be a part of the lecture that's going to be happening at UB. And you're also going to be hosting the Financial Voice and discussing some of these things that you are discussing today. So just as we wrap up, just very quickly, how did you feel that the budget spoke about Family Island businesses and concessions for small business development?
Well, definitely, I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the Financial Voice, particularly with it going into its 15th year. I think our conversation this year is going to be extremely robust. As far as what is happening with the Family Island development items that are part of the budget, I actually think that this is a budget that realizes that some of our greatest growth potential is going to be in the Family Islands. And obviously, that's not by chance. Both the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister represent Family Island constituencies. One that is what we would call very robust in terms of the growth that's happening in the Exomas, and one that is literally bursting with potential in terms of Kid Island, ready to go and raring to go. So I think that they recognize, our most senior leadership in the country recognizes that we have significantly higher growth potential in the Family Islands. This budget does, to an extent, really recognize that. And to be honest with you, I'm not so much from the budget perspective, from the discrete numbers, thinking that we're going to have good Family Island growth, but more so around the policies that they're putting in place in conjunction with the actual budget. I think the Family Islands are going to see a lot of entrepreneurial activity from Bahamians in sectors that we normally don't get into, like tourism, like aviation. So I'm actually looking forward to it again. The role of government should always be to facilitate growth, not to create, but to facilitate it. And I'm hopeful that this budget and the policies that have been announced will actually help to spur us along that path of there being a great environment in the Family Islands for what we call substantial growth.
Agreed. Very well said, Brother Karlos. Thank you again for coming on Bahamas at Sunrise here talking about the national budget. You can catch Karlos hosting the Financial Voice tomorrow. And it's going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. at the Harry Seymour Library at UB. You can attend in person and be a part of the live audience, or you can tune in right here on cable channel 212 and WhatsApp your questions live to our presenters. Thank you again, Brother Karlos, for joining us. We're going to see you tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Always good to see you. Good to be with you, Brother Mark.
Yes, my brother. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. We hope you have a wonderful week. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes, thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful week. Tomorrow's June 21st. Get your plants in the ground. It's time to plant. See you on Friday.